Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. It's 301. It's going to be about biodiesel indices. My name is Alexandria Quevedo, and I'm going to be discussing these biodiesel indices. There's about 8 of them, and we're going to dive right in. It's not working. So to get started, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into our biodiesel production. This is going to give us the amount of biodiesel produced in the United States. And sorry about that. We're going to be kind of discussing this a little bit. So biodiesel is an alternative to diesel, and you can put it into your tanks, your normal diesel tanks, and you really, the one conversion that you need to make when you do that is putting a heater on your gas tank if you don't already have one, just because it does gel quickly. But in warmer climates, you see that a lot of people are switching over to biodiesel because it is just a greener alternative. It's more efficient. It's really just a great option if it's available to you. But over time, there's likely to be an increase in production and consumption. And so I kind of wanted to get you guys started on this. So here you can see the biodiesel production in the United States. It's been pretty level for the last several months. It is going to be on a lag, so there's going to be a few months behind, and that's just the nature of this data. But we're going to be able to see sort of that ramp up as we go through time. Recently, there have been some changes in regulations surrounding biodiesel, biofuels, and ethanol, which will help promote more production of this, which will be interesting to watch as we move forward. There's a lot of motivation with this, especially right now in California, as they have a lot of regulations on laws and on what fuel that you can use and how much of it and the emissions that come out of it. And so with that, it kind of gives an incentive to switch, especially as those prices start to converge on each other between the diesel, the fossil diesel, and the biodiesel. So you can see that we can compare this with the biodiesel consumption, and I'm just going to use it in the transportation sector because that's going to be what's most relevant to most people. I'm going to go ahead and put it on a dual axis just because it is going to be measured in different units. So right now, and I can show you those units too. That's what's really fun about this right now. So there are going to be 2 different sets of units, and we're working on converting the British thermal units, the BTUs, into barrels, just so it's more readable and more understandable for most people, because that is a very hard conversion to make in your head. But you can see similar trends between the consumption in the transportation sector and also the production. So you can see that there is a big driver in the differences. So with that, you can see that there is that transformation, and in mostly that this transformation is being occurred in California, again, just because of those legal regulations. But that's going to be like your big first step in understanding this. So kind of moving forward, you can kind of predict that the production that's going to be made by the feedstocks. And what the biodiesel feedstock is going to be what starts mixing that biodiesel with the corn oil and other oil blends. And so with this, again, you can see sort of the similar trends. You can see where production's going. You can kind of see into May, it started to level out. And again, I'm going to think, and this is maybe a broad assumption, but it looks like it's going to start moving forward and moving up in later this year. And so you'll be able to sort of see that change and that transition. So again, kind of going a little bit further into this, just on the whole biodiesel scale, is looking into 2020, there's going to be changes in demand for different types of fuel, especially when you're looking in California and with IMO 2020 and how ultra low sulfur diesel is going to have more of a supply constraint because there's going to be an increase in demand. So that being said, biodiesel is just kind of one of those options that's easy to switch to without having to buy a whole new truck to use it with. So another big thing is that the United States used to be a larger exporter of biodiesel, and that has switched as consumption's changed. So we can compare the biodiesel exports and the biodiesel imports. And you can see that that converged in the beginning of this year, that there really was a shift. And that's likely, again, due to just that increase in demand here in the United States. And with that, that just sort of means that we want more, that we're trying to acquire more. So I'm sorry, I realize that this is backwards. And so actually we're importing. Oh no, we're importing more. I'm right. I'm sorry. So yeah, so there's sort of that dynamic where they are switching over a bit. Again, we're looking to acquire more and more biodiesel and also shipping off more because other countries are looking to jump into that biodiesel market as well. So kind of moving into the next sort of area, we're looking at biodiesel stocks, which is what biodiesel is stored, and then the changes in that storage. So you can see that lately we've been storing a little less and that we've been pulling some from storage just so we can again meet that demand. So again, you can again see that demand shift again towards the biodiesel. And it's really, this is a great way to sort of predict what direction you're planning on heading with the biodiesel and with what you want to do with your fleets, because there are other options. You could use natural gas. You can use, you could stay with the fossil diesel, and then you can also go into biodiesel or renewable diesel. And with biodiesel, again, it's an easy switch. It's cleaner. It's going to be just an easy option. So again, we can look at the stocks, and we can even look at the changes in the stocks. So you can see that the change where we're pulling more than we're putting in into the biodiesel stocks and the storage. And that dynamic's going to probably stay that way for a while until production can meet those demands. And so that's really like the biggest piece of this whole block. We do want to keep an eye on this just because there are a lot of changes again moving forward into 2020. It's an easy switch over. It's there, it's out, and you'll see it again a lot more in California. And as time moves forward, probably start seeing it more in other places with higher regulation switches and whatnot. And then if you want to be able to take a look at this into the Knowledge Center so you can see all the indices that we've made, you can go ahead and just jump up and click that question mark, and it'll take you, click Knowledge Center, and it'll take you to the Knowledge Center. And these indices are going to be under environmental, in the environmental category. And so you can see that we have a few of them. We do have consumption, total consumption, because it can be used for other things besides just transportation. Some smaller use cases would be with like emergency generators and stuff like that. But this is kind of what you'll be able to see it with. You'll have what is it, who's interested, what does it tell you, and it's fascinating just to see that shift in demand. So I realize I kept this very short, but as I said, there's a few of these indices, again, with consumption where it's in BTUs, British thermal units, and we're going to be working to switch that over to barrels or gallons just to make it a little bit easier for people to grasp and understand, because BTU is a measure of energy versus a measure of volume. So I do want to make that clear. We will add it, and you will be notified when that does happen. So I appreciate you guys all joining in. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to future Thursdays with you guys. And And so, again, have a great Thursday, and thank you for tuning in.